This is the Red Line, and I am your host, Jimmy Red. Thanks for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an exciting week in the NFL, especially for all you NFL fans. And you guys who have teams that are possibly competing to get into the playoffs, or a really good team that's in the playoffs, just trying to upgrade so they have a chance to be in the Super Bowl, or a team that's on a rebuilding purpose, because this is NFL trade deadline. And there has been a lot of trades out there today. Some really, really big name players heading off in new teams and new directions. One of them being Dante Fowler. Dante Fowler is the kid that was drafted in the first round, like the third pick overall. He was with the Jaguars when the Jaguars drafted him. They are sending him out to the West Coast to join an elite defense. In exchange, they're getting a third round and a fifth round pick. But he just went to a defense that's going to make him look phenomenal. He's going with Ndamukong Suh, and he's going with Aaron Donald, and he's going to join all of those guys out there in LA. So that's going to be a stacked defense. I mean, Aaron Donald leads the league in NFL knockdowns and sacks and everything because he is a beast. He is phenomenal. And you're putting this other guy on that edge with him, it's going to be a phenomenal squad there in LA. Also, the Denver Broncos have dropped a player as well, and this man joins an elite wide receiving core with a up-and-coming quarterback and a great defensive side of the ball too. So this puts Houston, who receives Demaryius Thomas from the Broncos, to a whole new level as well. We all know they just left Will Fuller, who had an ACL injury and is done for the year, but they still have DeAndre Hopkins, Kiki QT, their backfield, and they have a promising young star quarterback in Deshaun Watson. So that is a great pickup there for Houston. I think that puts them the next step up in the division, a potential chance, probably not beating Indianapolis for the division. I figured Indy would win the division, but I now think Houston has that next step because Indy make no moves during this chance, considering all of their wide receivers are hurt, and the only one they really had before the fact of that was T.Y. Hilton. Eric Ebron can't hold on to the football, and Jack Doyle, not really a superstar of a tight end. So, that being said, I think now Tennessee jumps up ahead of that division. I still hope Indy can pull it off, but I think Tennessee has taken a next step with adding Demaryius Thomas there. In exchange, all they sent over for Demaryius Thomas was they gave them a fourth-round pick, but Broncos then sent to them Demaryius Thomas and a seventh-round pick. So basically, all you lost was a fourth-round pick for Demaryius Thomas, who's a proven superstar. I think it's a good pickup by Houston. Another trade we had today was when they shipped some people from the the Lions to Philly. Another wide receiver. This man went to Notre Dame, Golden Tate, who played there in the Lions made a huge impact there. He was one of the biggest targets for Stafford to throw the football to there, and he got traded to go play for Philly, and he joins a huge cast of wide receivers with Nelson Aguilar, and who else do they have? They got Zach Ertz at tight end. They got Alshon Jeffrey. They are stacked at the wide receiver side. Plus, the only thing they're really struggling at is the backfield with Darren Sproles is what they got because Jay Ajayi is hurt. But Carson Wentz is coming back, and with more targets for Carson Wentz, that's going to make it that much better for the Philadelphia Eagles to make that run back at the playoffs after struggling so far during the start of this year. In exchange, they get a third-round pick for that. So a third-round pick is what they got in exchange for Golden Tate. Another one we have here is Clinton Dix was traded to Washington. He joins another elite guy in the backfield on the defensive side of the ball. He now joins Josh Norman, who plays for Washington, in the backfield. So Clinton Dix is traded from Green Bay for a fourth-round pick for him. They also traded another player for a seventh-round pick. We'll talk about him here in a minute. But Dix goes out for a fourth-round pick, and that's going to be a huge pickup, I think, for Washington, considering they already had a good defense, and now you're adding a star who can play safety for you in a position that's not really too big. It's a huge position to have somebody out, but there's not a lot of talent at it. Clinton Dix is one of them. Not a lot of talented safeties in the league, and to add one and have him beside Josh Norman, I think really puts your defense to the next level. Plus, you got a smart quarterback that does not make mistakes in Alex Smith. So I think it's a great pickup there by the Washington Redskins to up themselves after still already leading their division. The other trade that went down for Green Bay was they traded Ty Montgomery. Ty Montgomery played the game where he got the ball just this week and lost the game for Green Bay against the Rams. They had a chance to defeat the Rams and make the Rams not undefeated anymore, which is incredible to me. But Ty Montgomery had, other options. He didn't want to listen to his coach, Mike McCarthy, who told him to take the fair catch. He decided to run with the ball, and guess what he did? He fumbled it. When he fumbled it, you knew he was getting shipped out of the house. Well, he was shipped, and he is no longer with the Green Bay Packers. He got shipped for a 7th-round pick, and he is now a Baltimore Raven, which I think is going to be good for Joe Flacco because he needs some more talent that will allow Ty Montgomery, I believe, to go back to the wide receiver position, which is what he was drafted at. I don't really see him as a running back. The running back game is fine there in Baltimore in my mind. So I think he moves back to the wide receiver position because he's number 88. He's eligible to do that. So I think that's great for Baltimore. That gives more weapons to Flacco. Flacco already looks good. They were defeated by Carolina this week, though, and that's where they struggled was in the passing game because they couldn't get the ball with the receivers. So I think it's a great pickup for the Ravens and adds an extra weapon for Joe Flacco to get the ball to. Also, that Demaryius Thomas trade, there were teams that were trying to get in on that deal. Those teams were the Pats and the Titans. Man, I wish the Titans would have got him. Because the Titans lost their number 1 receiver, which isn't even really a receiver, it's a tight end, and Delaney Walker, their leading person on the team for the last 2 years, is out for the year. So now all they really have is Sharpie to catch the ball. Derrick Henry is not doing what he needs to do in the backfield, and Marcus Mariota can't really throw the ball because he has nobody to throw it to. So the Titans are definitely struggling this year. I would have loved to see Demaryius Thomas go there. I don't think he needs to be with the Patriots. The Patriots' wide receiving core is absolutely stacked right now. No reason to bring Demaryius Thomas there when you're already stacked with what you have. So I'm okay with him not going to New England. I'm okay with him going to where he went with Houston. I know they got a stacked squad, but I'm okay with that. So with that being said, that's all of the trades that made big news today. And we're going to try something a little different on this episode. Instead of breaking down the games that happened this week, we're going to talk about the games that are coming up this week. So we're going to give you a little prediction on what we think is going to happen with up-and-coming games this week. And a couple of those games that are coming up this week that are going to be phenomenal in my mind are the Chiefs and the Browns. And the reason I'm so excited about the Chiefs and the Browns, I know that's funny to say, because the Browns just fired their head coach in Hugh Jackson and their offensive coordinator in Todd Haley, but I'm still excited to see it because they still have the same defense. Their defensive coordinator is now their head coach, but their defense is one of the better defenses in the NFL, and they're going against Patrick Mahomes. And I'm excited to see if Patrick Mahomes can keep this up against this talented of a defense. Mahomes is averaging almost 320 yards a game through the air, which is absolutely incredible. He's carried a 300-yard game for the last 6 games. Phenomenal. He's only a rookie doing this, but the Browns' defense is absolutely incredible with your edge rushers and the kids you drafted this year out of the draft with Denzel Ward. And you got the kid off the edge with Bradley Chubb. And then in the backfield, you have Nick Chubb, who is crazy and can run that football after you traded away your leading running back. So the running back is stepping up for sure, looks phenomenal. But you're going against one of the best running backs in the game with Kareem Hunt, who looks absolutely phenomenal. He's averaging 134 yards, 552 on the year, and 5 touchdowns. Holy smokes, is he running that football. But I think he's got a different test going against the Browns this week. The books open up with Kansas City traveling there and being favored by 8.5. I think that's a little high. I don't like Kansas City being an 8.5 favorite. I think they might win by maybe a touchdown because that Browns defense is going to step up. I think Baker Mayfield has a big game. The reason I say that is because The Kansas City Chiefs are allowing over 500 yards of total offense every week. And with 500 yards and you got a rookie quarterback, he can go out there and throw it. We all know Baker's got great accuracy, so I think Baker Mayfield has a phenomenal game this week. And I think he finds a lot of wide receivers, gets a lot of fantasy points for you fantasy owners out there. So I would start Baker Mayfield this week against the worst defense in the NFL of Kansas City. That's why I think 8.5 is too much. I think it turns into a shootout. I think they win by 7. I'm taking Kansas City by 7. Kansas City wins this game 42-35, Kansas City. 42-35, Kansas City in that game. Another game I want to talk about here is the Falcons and the Redskins. That right there is a matchup that you kind of thought at the start of the year might be a pretty good matchup. You didn't think too much of it, maybe playoff implications on a wild card, war potential. But it's turned out that it's going to be a pretty good game, considering Atlanta is whizzing the ball down the field. So you basically know they have to throw it with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has 2,300 yards on the season with 15 touchdowns, which is phenomenal for him to have because he is slinging that football like a beast because Devontae Freeman, the running back, has been unable to play a lot of this year with injuries, so they're using backup running back Tevin Coleman, who is on a contract year and looking for somewhere to sign next year. So he has stepped his game up, but it's still with that wide receiving core you have there with Atlanta, you can't not throw the ball with Matt Ryan. You have to. You have Calvin Ridley, you got Julio Jones, you got who do you got as a tight end? You got Austin Hooper. You got to throw the ball. That is potentially the best wide receiving core in football, and Matt Ryan looks like a genius when he throws it. So, but then on the other side of the ball, you have a phenomenal defense. You just landed Clinton Dix, who's going to start his first game for you next week at the safety position. You got Josh Norman, who's probably going to be locked down on Julio Jones, and he won't get many touches. If it's my opinion, I think you put your second best receiver, cornerback, if you're with the Skins, on Julio. And I think you move Josh Norman over to that rookie Calvin Ridley because lately Calvin Ridley has been the favorite target for Matt Ryan. With Matt Ryan's favorite target being him, you know that's where he's going to look. So I think Julio Jones is the man you put the number 2 cornerback on and you guard Ridley with Norman. My opinion on the deal. I don't know if that's what they do, but I think that Calvin Ridley needs to be watched by Josh Norman, so you put your best cornerback on him. They're playing in Washington, so Washington's on the at home field, and that's great for Washington. Washington's way better at home than they are on the road. Atlanta has not been a great home team, so that really is not too big of a difference for Atlanta. They're better on the road than they are at home, but the spread here has Washington at a -1.5. I like that spread, and I think Washington covers that. I think they cover it, and I think Washington wins that game by 3 on the road. 28-25. What do I think? I want to say, let's go 30-27. 30-27. I'm going to change that one. 30-27 Washington over Atlanta. High-power offenses, a lot of points. 30-27 Washington over the Falcons. Another one that is pretty exciting to me as well is the Bucs and the Panthers. Man, now it's going to be sweet. Jameis Winston just got benched. They're bringing back in their starting quarterback of Ryan Fitzpatrick, who started the season out for him, looked phenomenal for the first 4 weeks. Then he struggled. They pulled him out after half, and they put in Jameis. Jameis has not looked like Jameis Winston at all. He is struggling. So they're going to put back in Ryan Fitzpatrick, which I think is an okay decision, but not great. Could spark the team back alive again because we see what happens with Fitzpatrick. He goes out, comes back in, done it numerous amounts of times, and has set the world on fire. So I think that could be pretty good for them, but I do not think they have enough to stop the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers just defeated the Ravens. The Ravens were probably the most well-rounded, one of the most well-rounded teams, not the best, probably the second or third best, because the Rams by far are the best well-rounded team. Baltimore was the only team that had an offense and a defense ranked inside the top 10. The only team in the NFL to have that, which is pretty phenomenal. And they got beat by Carolina. Carolina has stepped up, and they have 2 losses this year, and I think both of those losses really helped the Panthers out a lot. And the reason I say that is because when they got beat by Washington, they realized that Cam can't throw the ball deep because Josh Norman and everybody was just stopping him. So they realized that Cam needs to do these little quick dump-off routes or short passes and allow the yards to go up. Well, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Cam Newton's numbers are better this year than they were his MVP year. His MVP year, he's up 12% on his completion percent. He's up 100 yards on passing yards. His TD to interception ratio the year he won it was 11-1, 11-8. This year it's 13-4. His passer rating is 78. This year it is 97. His rushing yards are 286, and he's at 309 this year. But his carries have stayed basically the same. He had 64 in 2015. He had 62 this year, and he's got 4 and 4 for rushing touchdown. But all of his numbers have went up. Even in attempts, he's went up. He's up over 30 attempts this year so far, and he's still got better numbers. So Cam Newton's numbers have went up for Carolina, and Christian McCaffrey's numbers have went up as well. Christian McCaffrey looks like a machine out there. He's number 3 inside the tackles. He leads the team in receptions and in yards, and he's just turned it on to a whole new different level. And I think that the offense is too much for the Bucs defense, which is struggling this year. And plus, I think that defense for Carolina has learned in that other loss they had. Getting back Thomas Davis was a huge key to success. And now Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly and Kawan Short and all these guys are starting to step up. And they landed the new safety, which I think might be a little bit of a distraction to the team. But it helps. In the backfield, I think that's a big step for Carolina. I think Carolina wins this game big. The spread's only 6.5 playing at home against Tampa, but I think Carolina wins this game by at least 10. I'm going to go ahead and say Carolina 35-24. Carolina. I think Carolina wins 35-24. They win this game by 11 and cover with ease. So Carolina 35-24 over Tampa. Another crazy thing here, I think, for games is this one right here, folks. The Steelers and the Ravens. Man, these are two franchises that butt heads quite a bit. As I just mentioned, the Ravens were defeated by Carolina. Great team. Gave you all their stats. Top 10 in both offense and defense on the year. Joe Flacco looks phenomenal. He has to step up. Reason he has to step up is because of the fact of that he knows that he has pressure on his back. The other thing that gets me crazy about the Steelers is their defense is on a whole new level this year as well. And those guys have literally just turned it on. But the Steelers are traveling to Baltimore. And when you travel to Baltimore, it's a tough place to play in. But that running back situation they have going on there with the Steelers is crazy to me. You had Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is no longer with you, so you use James Conner to run the ball. Conner, to this point, has more yards and touchdowns than Le'Veon Bell did. Le'Veon Bell had only 889 yards up to this point of the year through these season with all of his numbers and 4 touchdowns. James Conner has 589 yards and he has 9 touchdowns. He has more touchdowns and yards than the man everybody loves, Le'Veon Bell. I think Le'Veon Bell made his own bed, and that's why he ain't got a job, because it shows that you can be replaced by someone and they can do just as good as you do. And he has so far, because he is a phenomenal football player. Another game. Oh, sorry, I'm not even done. I haven't gave you my prediction yet. I think since that game's on the road in Baltimore, Baltimore's defense is tough. Also, Juju Smith-Schuster looks good. You still have Antonio Brown. I think Pittsburgh travels in there and pulls the upset. I think Pittsburgh travels in there. A lot of people don't see this happening, but I think Pittsburgh's going to start turning it on here in the next few weeks. Big Ben knows he's got to. Smith-Schuster, Antonio Brown, James Conner looks fantastic. I think Steelers do-si-do in there with Baltimore being a 3-point favorite. And I think they cover that spread and win by 7. I think Pittsburgh walks into Baltimore and wins that game on the road by 7, 27-20. 27-20, Steelers over the Ravens. Another game here I want to touch bases on. This is going to be the last one I'm going to talk about here, and it's probably the biggest inputted game there is because of the power rankings. I'll give my power rankings right at the end of the show, but these two teams right here rank inside of my power rankings of the football, and that would be the Rams traveling to the Saints in New Orleans. They have to travel from one coast to another. The Rams, coming over being the best team and last undefeated team in the NFL, play the Saints. Drew Brees on a mission. They're passing the ball like phenoms out there, the number one passing offense in the game, and the number one defense rushing-wise for the Saints. But the Rams are on fire. They have so much firepower on defense after landing more defensive power. Plus, Jared Goff looks like a phenom out there. He's so duressed with Sean McVay calling the plays with him. He just looks amazing. He looks like a veteran out there. Todd Gurley is running like a phenom. 800 yards and 11 touchdowns this year, just straight running all over everyone. But them Saints and Drew Brees, like I said, Drew Brees is about really what they have. They also have Alvin Kamara. But I think with Aaron Donald and what they have there on that defense, it's going to be tough for Alvin Kamara to do a whole lot of anything. So I think the Rams come over, travel from coast to coast, and stay undefeated and defeat the Saints. Saints open the books up at a 1.5 favorite for a home team to only open at 1.5. Normally a home team opens at 3, and they're only open at 1.5, which means even Vegas is a little leery on this, only giving them 1.5. Basically, it's a pick 'em. That's the 425 game. I'm taking the Rams to win this game, and I think they win at 28-24. I think the Rams win this game 28-24. I think they're able to shut down enough of Drew Brees that they win this game. So 28-24, Rams win this game, stay undefeated on the year. Real quick, I want to touch bases on my power rankings real fast. I got coming in 5th in the power rankings this week after a huge, huge win. I got the Carolina Panthers. They look very, very good out there. And I think they are the deal. I think the Carolina Panthers are a team that a lot of people have to worry about and that are overlooking and not really putting them on their radar. So I have to say Carolina Panthers in at number 5. Number 4, I'm going to have to put the Saints in at 4 still. I want the Saints in at 4. Nope, Chargers in at 4. Sorry, Chargers are my number 4 team. The Chargers still look good. I know they look as fine as they should. They're playing great football, and they look good. They're playing Seattle this week. Should be an easy win for them. So give me Phillip Rivers and the Chargers at 4. The third best team, I'm going to have to go with the Saints. Saints are the third best team in the NFL. No problem, no hands, no questions asked. Saints are dominant and look very, very good at 3. The number 2 team in the NFL, they struggled a little bit this week. I still think they're about to turn it on. They're 4-0 at home on the season. I have to put in the Pittsburgh. I got to put in the New England Patriots. They look good. They're starting to get into season form. They got the receivers starting to get used to Brady. I know they had a close win against this week, but covered the spread against Buffalo. I got them at 2. Number 1, the Rams. Rams are the best team in the NFL. Hands down, no questions asked. Best run defense, passing the ball phenomenal. Rams in at 1. A team I took out of there, I know they look really, really good, but I think they are on their downward fall, and I think it starts to show a little bit this week, is the Kansas City Chiefs. I know a lot of people are high on that bandwagon, but I think they fall outside when they go see the Browns this week and have a tough matchup. And I think that drops them out of the top 5 in my mind coming in. So that's why the Chiefs are out. Well, folks, that's all we have here on the RedLine Prediction Show. Make sure you tune in next week to see how well I did, and I'll break those games down for you that I just did. So we hope to see you right back here next week on the RedLine. See you guys.